All right, all morning, evening, afternoon, and welcome back to another episode of the Plug Live podcast. Whenever, wherever you listen to this, I hope you're having a hell of a day, whether it's with a coffee in front of you or you're just driving along in the car. People who usually listen to this podcast know that I usually start off by talking a little bit about the previous weekend, but today we're going to do something just a little bit different. We're going to start off with a trivia question, which you never know. Maybe this will be like the new thing in the podcast series whereby we start off with a trivia question every single Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. Today's trivia question is I have to read this from my phone. In 2014, who was the only player to finish in top 10 of all four golf majors? The options are Ricky Fowler, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, or Jason Day. So that's in 2014, who is the only player to finish in top 10 of all four golf majors? Fowler, McIlroy, Spieth, or Day? If you want to find out, stick around till the end and I'll let you know because and don't worry, I won't forget because I've about 20 sticky notes across my monitor telling me and reminding me to go back and answer that question. So I shouldn't forget. And if I do, I'll probably delete the podcast channel. Anyways, let's talk about the weekend in golf first of all. Who won the golf? Good question. Tom Kim, an absolute superstar in the making. Perhaps some would argue already made. He announced himself onto the world scene a couple of months ago when he started 2022 ranked the 131st best golfer in the world. He's now ranked the 15th best golfer in the world after holding off Patrick Cantlay, the number 4 best golfer in the world. He went bogey free over the week, and he's the first to do so in victory since JT Poston at the 2019 Wyndham Championship. So, this was remarkable. And I know people sometimes hate comparing somebody like this to a Tiger. This kid's 20 years of age, and with this victory, Tom Kim became the first player since Tiger Woods in 1996 to win twice in the PGA Tour before turning 21. Tom Kim is a superstar, an absolute superstar. It's the second win in his last 4 starts, and we have to remember that obviously in between that, this is what most people around the world will remember him for, was the President's Cup, where he went 2-3 that Saturday, winning his 2 matches, driving the team on. And I spoke about this after the President's Cup, the way he did that and got out and rallied up the troops, went 2-3, not the best of records, but nobody's going to remember this. They remember him for his antics on the Saturday evening when he held that, I don't know what it was, 15 feet putt to win his match. And yeah, just remarkable. But even before that, if for diehard golf fans or even just golf fans in general, they go back to the Wyndham Championship when he won that tournament as well. I don't know, just what he's done over the last few months and weeks, and his rise to the top has been remarkable. It's the only word I can think of using to describe him. It's been something different. And if you heard him on the No Laying Up podcast, he spoke about how the fact when he was practicing for tournaments and he came on to PGA Tour, or it's PGA Tour or President's Cup, and he was so excited by the idea of hitting Pro V1s on the range. And just a few weeks later, this chap is a 2-time PGA Tour winner. Winning once the PGA Tour is hard. Winning twice on the PGA Tour is very difficult. Winning twice before you turn 21 is maturity beyond your years. And it's not even like he's just going out and scraping by it. He won the Wyndham Championship by 5 strokes. He won the Shriners by 3 strokes. Granted, what happened to Patrick Cantlay on the 18th hole on Sunday, but unbelievable. Over the past 3 months, in terms of strokes gained total, he's the 8th best player in the world. And yeah, I keep going back to this. This kid is 20 years of age. And I mentioned this after the President's Cup. He can't even have a legal beer in Ireland in America at the moment. And he's going out and winning on the PGA Tour. God, I dread to think what LIV are offering him right now. Because they would crave for a superstar like that who's announced himself to just go and turn his back on the PGA Tour. Wow. But for my sake, I hope he doesn't. I think Patrick Cantlay might be having maybe nightmares of Tom Kim at the moment. Tom Kim lost to Patrick Cantlay in the 4-ball on Friday at the President's Cup. And then Tom Kim actually defeated Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele in the 4-ball on Saturday. So that was 1-1 coming into this event. Just seems like Tom Kim maybe has the upper hand now. Yeah, Patrick Cantlay. Let's chat about him for a second. He makes a 7 on 18th. Well, he was looking for his 9th PGA Tour win. He's gained over 8 strokes putting over the course of the Shriners Children's Open. Excellent week with the putter. I did a little bit of digging. Patrick Cantlay's last 4 starts, PGA Tour starts, entering the final round when he's within the top 3 of the leaderboard. He's only had 1 win, closing out with a 25% win rate when he's entering the final round within the top 3. Is that good enough? I guess not bad. And I think people are so deluded by the fact that Tiger Woods won something like, figure off the top of my head, is like 70% or even more than that in PGA Tour wins when he was leading with the 54-hole lead. 25% is not bad, but man, you've got to think to yourself that 3-wood that he hit on the 18th on Sunday. It's a wicked hook. People can have their own opinions on what he did after, but that just shows the nerves getting to him. And if you're Patrick Cantlay and you're staring down, looking for your 9th PGA Tour win, staring at this 20-year-old, you've got to be thinking, I'm going to put one here in the fairway and just pile the pressure on. He made it way too easy for Tom Kim on Sunday evening, which is a shame. One thing that's mentioned has been Patrick Cantlay at Birdie Fest. Like some of his wins on the PGA Tour, the 2022 BMW Championship at Wilmington Country Club, he won a 14 under. 2021 BMW Championship at Cays Valley, won a 27 under. 2021 Zozo won a 23 under. 2019 Memorial won a 19 under. Like, that's 4 out of his 8 wins in the PGA Tour that have been what one could consider a birdie fest. 14 under is nip and tuck if you want to call that a birdie fest or not. But the other 3, 19, 23, and 27 under, that's most certainly a birdie fest. Excuse me. God, that's the height of rudeness. Talking about Patrick Cantlay, though, like, Patrick Cantlay's game would make people think that he should be a multiple-time major champion because he just seems so well-rounded. Like, when we look through his data golf profile, he's gaining in all strokes categories, I think, last year, I wanted to say, but he just seems so well-rounded. Drives the ball pretty well, great with his irons. Around the green game, he has a nice touch. And putting, he's an excellent putter when it gets hot. And you feel like he should be, actually, you know what? The last 4 seasons, he's gained strokes in all 4 categories: putting, around the green, approach game, and off the tee. And you feel like this chap should be contending in majors every single year. He's only had 3 top 10s in majors, which I'm sure burns him inside, but we've got to see this Patrick Cantlay come out sooner or later out of a major championship, and maybe 2023 will be his year. Moving a little bit down the leaderboard, like last week we mentioned the President's Cup snub, whereby players that weren't considered for the President's Cup, weren't chosen for the President's Cup team, had won. So Mackenzie Hughes had won at Sanderson, and Ryan Fox won at the Alfred Dunhill Links. This week, it seemed like the exact opposite on the PGA Tour. Tom Kim obviously won with Cantlay in second place. In T4, there was Mito and Seung Kim. 7th was Sung Jae, and 8th was Siwoo. T8 was Siwoo Kim. Definitely not a President's Cup snub week. I think people have started to recognize that Tom Hoge has been playing a lot better recently as well. He's gone 4th, 10th, and 12th in his last 3 starts. And this is a man that between August and May, he had 7 missed cuts in 8 starts. He just could not find it, but the irons have started turning around again. And he's playing again this week, which will get some people pretty excited. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had on the PGA Tour side of things. God, we've been in this 10 minutes already. Okay, let's keep moving here because this is probably going to be a quick enough episode. It's like 25-1 here at night on a Monday night. So I get this published for 6 a.m. Jon Rahm wins the Spanish Open. He's won it now for the third time, and he joins his hero, Seve Ballesteros, as the only player to ever win the Spanish Open 3 times. And he'll now climb to number 5 in the world from number 6. It's crazy to think that Jon Rahm is number 5 in the world. It feels like he's good enough to be a top 3 player all the time, but he's fallen just a little bit recently. He shot a 9 under 62 for a 6-shot win at the Club de Campo Villa de Madrid on Sunday for his 8th European Tour win. And listen, I've mentioned this before. I don't want to dwell on this point too much. It's only his 2nd win of the year. His other win was coming at the Mexico Open. And yeah, I think, mentioned this before, he'll be quite disappointed with this year. Like the Mexico Open, he was expected to win. He was going into that field at like 3-1. He was by far. It was like an uncle turning up at a 15-year-old birthday party. Like it was like he was the big dog in the house, and everybody had to respect him, and they did respect him. They let him win. This week he got a 2nd PGA Tour win, or a 2nd win of the year. He'll be devastated with this year, I think. I think he'll be really, really disappointed. It's his first year without a top 10 in a major since 2017. And he's played good golf. It's not like he's been bad. He's played good golf, but he's actually played such good golf that Data Golf rank him as the 2nd best player in the world right now. But to only have 2 wins, yeah, I think this week he'll probably celebrate winning the Spanish Open. Next week when he's sitting down, or whenever, the end of November when he's sitting down and reevaluating the season, won't be too happy. Matthew Pavon, the 29-year-old, finished 2nd this week. He actually had a T9 at the BMW PGA Championship as well recently, so he's been playing pretty well. And Minwoo Lee, who tried his best to battle with Jon Rahm on Sunday, just didn't have it, finished 3rd. The 24-year-old Australian was battling for his 3rd European Tour win. The last one I want to mention is Henny Du Plessis, finished T8 this week, coming off the back of a T16 at the Omega European Masters a few weeks ago. And people might recognize the name because he finished 2nd at the Live London event. I mentioned, there's one more I meant to mention. Eddie Pepperell. So people might remember. People will know Eddie Pepperell is this funny character from Twitter. He's very similar to a Max Homa, and he went down a downward spiral between June 21 and July 2022. He had 27 events, 18 missed cuts. So only made 9 cuts out of 27 events in those 11 months or 13 months. In his last 9 tournaments, though, he's now recorded 7 top 20s. So fingers crossed for Eddie. I love seeing a character like this. Like, it was similar to Max Homa. Max Homa was always criticized of being this player that couldn't win on the PGA Tour, and he's only ever going to be a Twitter superstar, not content creator, but like just a comedian. And he's turned it around, and I would love nothing more than to see Eddie Pepperell turn around this week. He seems like an absolutely great guy, and I respect his views on a lot of stuff, especially live golf. Which leads me into my next point. The former number 2 in the world amateur golf rankings, Eugenio Lopez Chicara, won in Live Bangkok this week at Stonehill Golf Club. I wish I could say I saw this coming, but in his last 4 starts on Live, he's gone 27th, 24th, 37th, 25th. It's $4.7 million, okay? Congratulations to you, Eugenio. You're now a multi-millionaire after your first professional win in Thailand, and he joined Live in June. He joined Greg Norman's society because realistically, a society is all it is, because it's an exhibition. There's no world golf ranking points right now. There's no competitiveness. Okay, let me lead on to this. First of all, congratulations, Eugenio Lopez Chicara from Oklahoma State University. The problem is nobody knows how big this win is in the world of golf, because he won by 3 strokes. It's not like there was a major leaderboard chasing him down. It's like he only had to defeat 4 other golfers, 47 other golfers. it's hard to put into context just how big this win is. Like it, at least when you go out in a PGA Tour event, there's usually like 120 or 130 other players, and to actually win that week is like a major achievement because you've beaten all those. This is 47 other golfers, and like some of the golfers are like Pyatt or like Lee Westwood. It's like down the bottom of the leaderboard here. Hideto, Tanahara, Scott Vincent, Graham McDowell, Hudson Swafford. Like it's the depth just isn't there. So that's what I mean when I say it's hard to contextualize just how big this win is for Eugenio. Here's a problem that I identified a few weeks ago at Live Golf, and it's still peeping its head. So Liv has held 6 tournaments so far, and 4 of those have been won by multiple strokes. Like these are only 54 hole tournaments, and they're not competitive. Just very, very boring right now, in my opinion. Compared to the last 6 events in the PGA Tour, 5 of them have been won by 1 stroke or gone to a playoff. So, like, the thing is, this is like 54. My hypothesis a few weeks ago was like that the reason that these are 54 holes is to try and keep them competitive, because if there are 72 holes, sure, a person could just go out and win by fucking 7 or 8 strokes, and Sunday would be a snooze fest. We'd be asleep by the end of it on Sunday evening, and it'd be boring. And to try and get World Golf Ranking points now, they're considering going to 72 holes, and it's going to be boring. Like nobody cares about the team aspect of it right now. It's not tracked well enough, and the teams aren't competitive enough, and it's I don't know. It doesn't entice me to watch. I don't like Live. I don't like what it stands for. I don't like some of these players that have moved, and I don't like watching it. I think it's boring. Especially like Live Bangkok. Like we're moving on to the next point here. Playing in Bangkok, like people were excited by the fact that this was going to be a worldwide tour, and they were going to go to Australia and Bangkok and Jeddah and Europe and wherever else, America, and they were going to play all the time. Like the problem with having it in Bangkok is, if I wanted to watch it in here in Ireland, I'd fucking be coming home from Coppers at 4 a.m. in the morning, turn it on then, and it'd only be just starting, something like that. Like it's on at ludicrous hours compared to like Live Boston, Chicago, London, Bedminster. They're all on at what some people would consider reasonable hours, and the numbers don't lie. Like I can't remember who tweeted this out because I haven't referenced it here, but less than half of the 600,000 or so fans who tuned in the final rounds of Live Boston, Chicago, and Bedminster on YouTube watched the final round of Live Bangkok. Like less than 300,000 people watched, compared to 900,000 that watched Chicago, 600,000 that watched Boston, 700,000 that watched Bedminster. Like, and this is something that I never thought about, because I always used to make the argument that golf should be worldwide and it should be going around to all these new countries and markets and trying to reach out. And I never even considered the fact that if I wanted to watch Live Golf on a Saturday night, I'd have to go to Coppers, go to Babylon, get a curry cheese chip, come home, and glue my eyes awake to try and watch some of it. So that's something that they're going to have to deal with. And that's a double-edged sword of playing worldwide golf. There is rumors going around that Liv is considering introducing a cut mark at Jeddah, whereby to try and get World Golf Ranking points. What happened last week with the MENA Tour was, so basically Liv has like teamed up or acquired, or I don't know, created an alliance at whatever with the MENA Tour to try and get World Golf Ranking points. And they thought they were going to get away with this last week, and Gina Sims, Brooks Koepka's wife, had put up an Instagram story of her celebrating that they had all got World Golf Ranking points, and then 24 hours later the OWGR just announces, no, you won't be getting this because you still don't meet our criteria. And that's the way it should be. 54 hole events, no cuts, no qualifying for these events. you have to be a fully functional tour for at least a year before you can get world golf ranking points. Liv is only going for, I don't know, 3 months. And they want, if you've listened to this before, you know the one adjective or the one noun that I always use to describe Liv. It is a circus. Krusty the Clown is the new Greg Norman. It's going around all these cities and trying to blast music and throw beer bottles out into the crowd. It doesn't matter. People don't care about that sort of. People don't care about the fact that Dustin Johnson's won 14 million or 40 million or whatever it is. People don't care about the fact that this young kid, Eugenio, the world number 2, has got $5 million for winning this week. People don't care that you're throwing out beer. Like, that might matter to the whatever 5, 10, 20,000 fans that are attending the event. It does not matter to people watching at home. People at home want a good competitive event whereby when they're watching it on a weekly basis, they know that they're going to be treated to a good round on Sunday evening, and they're just not getting that right now. Number 1, because it's on Saturday, and number 2, because the 54 holes means that it's not competitive enough. Number 3 is the fact that this doesn't matter. They're not getting world golf ranking points. They're not getting into major fields. They're not competing for anything. They've already received a ton of money to come to this event, and it doesn't matter. Okay, well, there is rumors going around that Live Golf are now considering introducing a cut at this week's event in Jeddah to try and comply with some of the OWGR requirements. What difference is that going to make? The other thing is the average field for an OWGR event has to be 75 people. Live doesn't do that. I don't know. If you've listened last week with Sean, my podcast with Sean Hussey from Tackling Sport, we pretty much went through the whole thing here. Yeah. I'll probably repeat it again next week because it's so fun to chat about. I love going on Twitter and just looking at the bots that have. I love going on Twitter and just looking at the bots that are like Greg Norman's like little puppets that are just cheering for everything that Liv does. And I don't want to shit on Liv for the sake of shitting on Liv. I don't, because that's what it sounds like a lot of people do a lot of the time. But I do want people to understand that you cannot just create a tour and then decide that we want world golf ranking points because we have all these top players. There are regulations that were there long before you got into place. The regulations won't change to fit you. You have to change to fit the regulations, because if it was the other way around, the whole world would be a mess whereby people would just come and change and everything would be altered every 2 minutes. And there'd be no, I don't know, alignment or whatever in the world. I don't know. So that's my thoughts on Liv. Okay, let's move on because I'm going to keep it rolling here. We do have Liv Jeddah happening this week. Won't chat about in this next in the next few minutes because I don't even know anything about the course or anything. Where is Jeddah? Actually, that should have been tonight's question. Jeddah is the principal gateway to Mecca. Wait, is Jeddah? Oh, it's in Saudi Arabia, isn't it? It's a city in the Hijaz region of Saudi Arabia. Okay, and the country's commercial center. Well, there you go. If you didn't know that, you've learned something new every day. I'll tell you where we are going this week, though, is Japan, where 7 of the top 20 players in the world will be teeing it up, including Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Sungjae Im, Cameron Young, Hideki Matsuyama, and Tom Kim. They'll all be making the trip down to Narashino Country Club, which has hosted the Zozo Championship in 2022 and 2020. People might recognize this event the most for when Tiger Woods won the inaugural event in 2019, getting his 82nd PGA Tour victory. In 2020, he was moved to Sherwood Country Club due to COVID pandemic, and then in 2022, now we are back. Yeah, I don't know too much what to say. It's going to be 78 players, the top 60. This is from Andy Lack's article at rickrungolf.com. rickrungood.com. 78 players, top 60 available PGA Tour pros from the previous season's FedEx Cup standings, and the top 7 players on the Japan Golf Tour money list, and 8 sponsors exemptions. Don't ask me who any of the Japanese players or the 8 sponsors exemptions are, because I don't know them off the top of my head. This course, it's a par 70, 7,041 yards. It's a bent grass on the greens, running 10.5 on the stimp. What do we know? So, reading about this event, there's been a few things like that I've noted. Comparison courses, I've heard Augusta National Golf Club, which holds that event called in every April called the Masters, I think. And YLA Country Club, which holds the Sony Open. So, it's getting mixed up between these two. God, it's going to be embarrassing if it's not the Sony Open. Yeah, it is Sony Open, thank God. What's the other one that's held? Not the Century. There's the Century, the Sony. Oh, maybe. Anyways, the YLA Country Club that holds the Sony Open. Yeah, they're supposed to be comparison courses this week, and along with Colonial Country Club that holds the Charles Schwab Challenge. That's always a tongue twister for me. I've heard rumors that proximity over 175 yards are to be valued. Who's the best player in this field? Cameron Davis, Brendan Steele, Colin Morikawa. Over the last 2 years at this event, over the last 2 years at the Zozo Championship, when it's been held at Narashino Country Club in 2020 and 2020, and when it was held at Sherwood Country Club in 2021, 5 players have recorded top 25 finishes in each: Hideki Matsuyama, Corey Connors, Keegan Bradley, Colin Morikawa, and Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood. Keep an eye on that name. Just going through a little bit here. Hideki won here last year by 5 shots over Cameron Tringali and Brendan Steele, who were in second place. Hideki's going to be one of the favorites, if not the favorite, this week. He's been playing decent. Hideki's currently at 12-1. Sung Jae Im is at 11-1, and Xander Schauffele, obviously, is at 15-2. Okay, let's chat a little bit about Sung Jae. Sung Jae's been on, like, no people say that person's been on a heater. How long should a heater last? Like, is a heater like 3 weeks? Is a heater like 3 months? Obviously, a heater can't be like a year, because that's just playing really, really, really well, like what Rory McIlroy does all the time. Sung Jae Im finished 3rd here in 2020, and he's had 3 runner-up finishes in his last 5 starts in the PGA Tour, plus a 7th and a 12th. So 2nd, 7th, 12th. Playing excellent golf right now. And is he playing better than Xander? Somebody could make that argument if they wanted. He's gained over 6 strokes. He's gained over 6.3 strokes ball striking in 4 out of his last 5 starts. He's gained strokes putting in each of his last 5 starts, and around the green he's gained strokes in 3 out of his last 5 starts. Just all around game is firing on all cylinders right now. Keep an eye on Sung Jae this week. Another person who you might see is Corey Connors, who's coming off, to put it mildly, a deplorable President's Cup, where he went 0-4. He finished 8th at this event in 2021. He finished 6th here in 2020. So the course history is there, but missed cut at the Fortinet. And following that was a howler at the President's Cup. Do Mr. Connors what you will. Tommy Fleetwood, okay. I like Tommy Fleetwood until I looked at Bet365 and saw that he was 22-1. I don't know what American people are getting him at. He finished 39th at the Spanish Open this week, lost strokes in approach, but was decent before that. Finished T4 at both Scottish Open and the Open Championship in recent months. And he's also had, in terms of comparison courses, good performance at Augusta, and finished T35 at Colonial last year. Okay. And also, he's finished 7th and 22nd at this event. At this course. So Tommy Fleetwood is in a good run of form, but 22-1 for a person who hasn't won on the PGA Tour. Listen, I know records are there to be broken. I just can't see myself ever doing it. Like it's the same. It's the same with a few players like that they haven't won in ages, and people are like, "Oh, they're going to win sooner or later," and I'm like, "There's no guarantee." But like Corey Connors is one example. He hasn't won since 2019, the Valero Texas Open, and that was his only ever PGA Tour win. Okay, fact is that he can get there across the line. The fact is that he hasn't won in 3 years, and that's enough for me to avoid Corey Connors, who is currently 28-1 on Bet365 this week. Okay, let's run through a few other players here in the field. Keegan Bradley is currently at 30-1. He finished 5th at the Sanderson in his last start, and he's finished 7th and 13th at Narashino Country Club. Keegan Bradley is striking the ball well. I've read that putting isn't as important this week. So, yeah, if Keegan Bradley can just ignore the putter, get a semi-neutral, he could potentially go low. The problem with this field, obviously, is that there's only 78 players in it, so a lot of players are valued between 30 and 35, 40-1. Mito Pereira is one of those players. He's currently at 35-1. Over the past 20 rounds, he's the third best player in strokes gained approach. He gained over 9 strokes on approach at the Shriners last weekend, which was 1.8 strokes more than second place. That is elite. That's unbelievably good ball striking to gain 9 strokes on approach. And I would love to find out if that is I'd love to find out if that's like one of the best that we've had in the last like 2 years, because let's see, I'll tell you right. Oh, it's not. Okay, people do. If you're ever curious, the best strokes gained ball striking tournament was Victor Hovland at the Players Championship in 2022, when he finished T9 and lost 3 strokes putting. The second best is this is one of the craziest ones ever. Luke List finished T19 at the Travelers Championship, gained almost 14 strokes ball striking, lost 7.8 strokes putting. Has there ever been such a Luke List week in your life? But yeah, Mito Pereira gained 9 strokes in approach at the Shriners Children's Open, 35-1. That's pretty good value. Keep an eye on him this week. I think he'll be pretty good. Sepp Straka, right? Everybody is raving about young Sepp right now. He's gone second in his last 3 starts. So 3 top 7s in a row, and he's gained strokes ball striking in all 3. And he's gained over 3.6 strokes in approach in 3 consecutive starts. Straka might be the man to beat this week. And 35-1 is a pretty good number considering how good he's been. There's somebody I like a little bit better, though, at a bigger number. Actually, at twice the number. But I'll get on to him in a second. Scott Stallings is another one that I've seen a lot of people mention. He's 35-1 this week. T13 at Sanderson and a second at the BMW in his last 2 starts. So 2 top 13s, including a runner-up. In this field, over the last 24 rounds, he's first in strokes gained tee to green. And aside from that, he's also finished 13th at the Wyndham Championship. Yeah, I like Scott Stallings this week. There's actually a lot of people to like between 30 and 35-1 this week. Someone who's outside that 35-1 bracket is Matthew Neesmith, who's at 50-1. At the Shriners, on strokes gained approach, he was 4th. At the Sanderson strokes gained approach, he was 3rd. So iron play is absolutely elite right now, and he's gained strokes putting in both of those starts. At 50-1, that's pretty sweet. He's at 50-1 on Bet365. Although I could have looked up that earlier and now it's well. Neesmith, 50-1. Mackenzie Hughes. All right, I think this is like my favorite bet because I have absolutely zero idea how Mackenzie Hughes is currently 70-1 with Bet365. He was T4 here last year at the Zozo Championship, and he's coming off the back of a win at the Sanderson Farms. Like Mackenzie Hughes, and he's coming off the President's Cup snub where he's obviously not chosen by Trevor Immelman, and as well as that, the Sanderson, he didn't even do it all with the putter. It was his second best tee to green performance ever. 70-1, 4th last year. That is a wicked, wicked number. Definitely keep an eye on that. Final one to mention here before we get onto the trivia question Adam Svensson at 125 to 1. So in terms of comparison courses, he's finished T40 at Colonial and T7 at YLA in 2022. Gained strokes and approach in each of his last 4 starts, and he's a better putter on bent grass. As well as that, he's 53rd from 175 plus last year. 125 to 1, that might be a good one to keep an eye on. And that's it. That's me finished. All right, listen, thanks very much. I'm joking. Obviously, I'm going to answer the trivia question because else I'd have to just delete my podcast channel, which would be a real shame. So the question was, in 2014, who's the only player to finish in the top 10 of all 4 golf majors? Ricky Fowler, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, or Jason Day? The answer was the one and only Ricky Fowler. Yeah. 4 top 10s in majors in 2014. He's never, ever won a major. He has won one Players' Championship in 2015 when he actually... Is this actually going to be my other question for the trivia question? In 2015, Ricky Fowler won the Players' Championship at TBC Sawgrass. How many times did he birdie the iconic 17th hole during that week? 3, 2, 1. The answer was 5. He birdied it in the playoff as well. Young Ricky Fowler. He's actually playing as well this week, so keep an eye on him. He's working with Butch Harmon now, and I think a lot of people will be very, very happy to see Ricky back. Listen, that's all for me this week. We've gone through 36 minutes here. If you enjoyed the show, feel free, as always, check me out on Spotify. Not on Spotify. Oh, God, I really wish I could record this again. Check me out on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, on Apple Podcasts, or any social media handles that you can think of. I'm probably there at the Plug Live. Check it out. Yeah. Finally, let me finish this off. And I should have mentioned this at the start of the show. New podcast series coming this week. It's okay, I'll let you in because you've listened this far. I've started recording a new series with Kevin Markham. People from Ireland will know him. He's a renowned golf photographer and golf writer. Excellent. He's really, really good at what he does. His articles are excellent. The pictures that he takes at Kevin Markham Photography.ie are really, really beautifully framed and lovely to have. We're going to go through some golf courses around Ireland, releasing every single Thursday morning at 6 a.m, talking about basically the course, different courses. This Thursday, it's going to be Portsalon Golf Club, talking about who designed the course, accolades that it's had, tournaments that it's hosted, certain attributes of the course that we really, really like, certain things that we don't like. And we did record one episode that did record some negative feedback. Not overly critical. I think it was fair, and I think a lot of people have very similar thoughts in the course. It's not about Portsalon. It's about another one that will be coming out the following week. So I'm trying to get ahead of this. Keep an eye on that. If you're Irish and you're listening to this, I think you'll really enjoy it. I think especially if you've played the course before, Kevin's super, super interesting. I hope that you people enjoy it. And as always, look for feedback. Listen, thanks very much for joining again this week, and I will chat to you again next week. Hey, guys, have a hell of a week. Good luck. Bye-bye.